Hi, True Crime Grapevine fans. It's me, Patty Lee. I'm here tonight. I have my core water because it has been a day of chasing my new crime kitties around my house. So I'm still out here on the porch for our daily True Crime Headlines. So today is Wednesday, September 13th, and it started off with a bang. Hey, Kate, baby girl. So this morning at about 8:40, we got the news that Cavalcante was caught. Yay. If I had a drink, I'd drink to that, but I'm going to drink my water because we've got COVID in the house again. I know, big fun. Mm. So that was good though. He was taken alive too, which was kind of surprising. They found him at the Prizer Street John Deere construction zone. Okay, thank you, Catherine. Um, Hiding under a bunch of wood, I guess. Or they said at first he was in the shed, but it appears they found him, and by they I mean a dog went in and found him under a wood pile. You better just be joking, Catherine. Um, yeah, he had a big wound on his face. He was still clean shaven. He looked really worse for wear. You could tell it had been raining there. It had been cold there. It seemed like he was moving at night. So they used heat seeking um, visual stuff from a helicopter that first saw him in the woodpile. So he had gone there and gotten out of the elements, and that's where he was hiding out. He was found, he was wearing a sweatshirt that they hadn't said, maybe stolen from one of the houses. They said they didn't know where he got it, but it was a Fly Eagles Fly t-shirt. So if you watch Silver Linings, or if you're from Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, or you like the Eagles, maybe you're a Swiftie, you know, Fly Eagles Fly. So yeah, he was still repping for the state in which he was unaliving people and escaping and causing a big, huge bill to get him. So he was captured by the U.S. Marshals and the CERT team. And the CERT team has to do with certified prison. They're special officers that get prisoners who have escaped. They are trained specifically for that. So each state has that. So CERT officers and U.S. Marshals and Border Patrol, because Border Patrol also has a lot of experience in tracking people and like finding people, obviously. So yeah, that's over. He was taken, you know, and some people were criticizing that the people who chased him, they like took like a photo with him with all the guys around with he did have the rifle. Now he didn't use it on anybody, but he did have that rifle with him. So they took a picture of the rifle, the dogs that helped find him, and all the men. And people were like, oh, that's so gross. They took a picture. You guys, they chased him forever around those hills and hollers of that all over Chester County, Pennsylvania. And the family of his girlfriend, in which he unalived, she had two children who saw him do that. They were fearful of their lives because he had been put in jail supposedly forever and then got out. So they were living in fear. So now everybody is sleeping easier in Pennsylvania, and that is the best ending because he wasn't, I don't personally believe in unaliving people because they unalived, because it kind of seems like whatever, but really nice. Okay, the second story case is the Ruby Frankie case. So late last night after I got off the live, um there was an interview that was with an attorney, Kessler, who is Kevin Frankie's attorney. And he did an interview with Jesse Weber on Law and Crime Sidebar. If you'd like to go watch it, go over there. He was very careful to say he couldn't speak to anything about the children, how often Kevin saw the children, if he knew anything what was going on. What he kept reiterating was that Kevin had been out of the house for almost a year and a half, that Kevin did not physically harm his children ever. And he kept saying physically. So I think because of the 8 Passengers podcast slash YouTube channel, they do have him sitting there with his wife when they're talking about these extreme other punishments of their children. So it's hard to say that he didn't maybe emotionally, or he wasn't controlling in a manipulative, emotional, spiritual way. I don't know how that's going to go down, but he definitely seems, from everything we found out, from, if it's true, from his sisters and what seems to be true from other people who've known Jody, like her niece that spoke out, that Jody weaseled her way into their lives and divided and conquered, which is how cults work. They divide, they conquer, and then they work on fear. And she definitely felt that God was speaking to her. We've heard this before, right? That she was having revelations, and that, probably Kevin was, he felt that he was, it sounded like, bad too. And one of the things he was saying, that his attorney also reiterated, that he feels like he's coming out of something, like he's awakening to, like, maybe he's intimating, obviously, that he was that Jody Hillebrand, and he didn't say anything about the wife, about Ruby. The lawyer said that Kevin was like taken in by, manipulated by Jody Hillebrand, who's done this to other people, which we've all heard. So that is going to be a big part of this trial. And it is September 13th. Supposedly there was something about September 14th. I don't know if that'll happen, but I'll be watching if there's any court, like expedited court, because remember, Jody Hillebrand had a life-threatening emergency and we don't know what that was. So we shall see. So that is what's up with the 8 Passengers Frankie case. And last, I don't want to say least, the Kohlberger case, there's just been some filings. So what's happened back and forth is about cameras in the courtroom. And you guys, it's Idaho. And so if you were paying attention to the Vallow Daybell case in Idaho and what Judge Boyce's decisions were, every time a judge makes a decision in the same state at the same level of court, you're going to get precedent. And so he set precedent that when there was overly zooming in on, like, basically invasive techniques by TV cameras that have been allowed in the court, that they can be prohibited because they didn't listen to, like, not zooming in. And everybody's like, we need transparency and stuff. You also need, I think the thing is, every state is different, but if you're in a state that is very strict and they say you have to use these guidelines and these national programs, I think law, I don't know if it was Law and Crime. I don't remember if it was Court TV who was the pool camera. They should probably the pool camera should have probably gone, in my opinion, to East Idaho News, because they're from the area and they would have a more, like, they would know where the line is, where sometimes I think these national people are like, it's better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. So I don't know what you think. Like, subscribe. I will be back tomorrow. There's not a whole lot else going on. And besides Miss Kate the Great, I don't have anybody in chat. So if you're watching this on replay, let me know what you think about, I know we all want cameras in the courtroom, but I don't know, maybe it's because I used to be a kindergarten teacher and a mom of 3. But the thing is, when you're like, these are the guidelines and you don't do those guidelines, and then you go, no, now we'll do it. Please don't take us away. That grates on everybody's nerves, especially if you're in a position where you have to do this all the time. And it gets old, right? To tell people, look, I told you once. These are grown-ups. So maybe, for future, you'd think that they could come to an agreement about, like, what happened in the Wagner case. Do you guys remember the Wagner case in Ohio? And we kept seeing the seal in the court, like their justice seal, because it was a really sort of crude, sort of anatomically weird thing of Lady Justice that everybody sort of laughed at. But it was because like certain people didn't want their face on camera, and you could opt out. Even the people who committed the crimes, which I thought was a little odd that they could opt out of being recorded. But then they just had the cameras focus on something like a wall, and then they could have a stationary camera that only focused, like that was like sitting in the back row, so you could still see the court but have like something near the judge for vocal. I mean, there's lots of ways they could do it, but I think they're going to take them all the way out because it's Idaho and there's precedent for the Valadebo case. I think so. Even though the two sides have different reasons for not wanting cameras, so that's kind of a shame because it's not as fun to watch a trial. It's too bad too that they don't like videotape the whole thing, and then if you don't want to be on camera, because one of the things the state was saying is some of the victims are young, and they mean like college age students that don't want to be on camera. Again, do what Ohio did. Then you just focus the camera up on something else while the person is speaking. They're not on camera. That seems would be a good compromise, but nobody is proposing that. I don't know why, because we just had the Wagner trial. I wish Gigi from Pretty Lies and Alibis or somebody would propose to have, like, because Gigi has ties to, I believe, Law and Crime Network, propose that. That would be a good compromise if one of the major networks like Law and Crime could propose, hey, how about we have one stationary camera, it's far back, it's stationary, not zooming in on anything, and then if somebody doesn't want to be on camera, we'll just like go to a spot that's designated. How about that? That would be a good compromise. Again, kindergarten teacher, right? A mom. I'm into compromise. What do you guys think? Let me know. Let me know if you believe Kevin Franke and why his attorney just said physically over and over again. Because if you've seen, I didn't see all the clips, but I saw enough clips that he was down with that. I don't think he should get, I mean, I think he needs parenting classes. I think he needs some help. I think he was a victim of Jody Hillebrand, in my opinion, allegedly. What do you think? You think Kevin's a victim? Do you think he could have his kids back after a while, right away? I don't know. All right, so we have a convicted murderer, and I watched the stream on two people. I watched Ikadmel, and I watched the Grizzly True Crime. So they are two great channels for live coverage of things, and they did a great job, I think, on the manhunt in Pennsylvania with Cavalcanti. And that's all I know about that. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.